Google has a problem, and this might be your biggest opportunity. I'm Jonathan Rolley, and this is the Science of Advertising show. And today we're asking the question every CMO should be losing sleep over. It's when AI answers the question before anyone clicks. How does your brand survive? Josh from Studio Hawk is here today, Australia's largest pure-play SEO agency. And if anyone knows where this is heading, it's him. Josh, welcome to our special feature on the zero-click world, AI search and everything in between. Welcome.
The science of advertising.
Thank you, Jonathan. Super excited to be here today.
Geo, AI search, AEO, zero click. It's got a numerous or a plethora of different names. But is this actually a new industry? Is it a new category, or is it just a PR job for what is SEO essentially?
Yeah, good question. Thanks for having me on the show too, Jonathan. This is really cool. Feels really good to be here. Love kind of, my day job is really talking and I guess educating brands and people on where we're at within SEO and then where we're heading within AI search. I feel like, there's so many acronyms being used these days around, GEO, AEO, where we're heading, what does it mean? Is SEO dead? And for me, I see AI SEO as like the next evolution of search. And you mentioned PR too, and PR has now become quite important within AI because how the way that a brand is being spoken about within AI can be influenced by the public narrative. So
what's the difference if you go, here's SEO, here's AI SEO or derivative of? What's the difference in your view?
I would say AI SEO is around 80% the same as traditional SEO, but it's this extra 20% that has been now included that wasn't included before. And it's like a cake. You've got kind of like your traditional kind of standard cake, and then there's been another layer that's been added on top, which is kind of the AI SEO component. But you wouldn't just eat that layer on its own. You still want to eat the whole cake. And so,
what do you mean by that? So your foundation is great SEO, and then you've got additional layers. Is that what you're...
Correct. And what we're finding too is like brands that are doing well in AI search have all the foundational SEO elements already in place. So their website structure might be great. They've got tons of content on their site that's talking about different areas and targeting different keywords already. They've got good UX, they've got good technical foundations. They've already ticked a lot of those boxes that brands should have ticked in the last sort of 5 years. So as AI search kicks in, they've already got those layers there, and then it's just about adding those additional layers on top. But I speak to brands where they'll reach out and they'll be wanting to look at AI search, but my first recommendation to them will be, well, you haven't actually done your foundational work first. So we need to do the foundational work first, and then we're building on it. So so brands that are, succeeding, if we're seeing brands that are succeeding within AI search now already, they've already got some of those foundational elements in place, and they've been taking care of their SEO for the last sort of 5 to 10 years.
So what's the top 3 things in the additional layer then? Like you need great SEO. So that's foundation. It doesn't sound like there's shortcuts. You still need that. What would be the 3 things in the additional layer?
Yeah. So the first thing is topical authority. So, and what that is has a brand, because there's all these different ways that people search for a particular thing or item or, product category or, service. And so there's all these different ways that people will search for a particular thing. Now, brands, and then with AI search, it's added on this whole personalization aspect where, instead of someone searching for, like for instance, I'll give an example. We had a brand reach out to us recently that does hair transplant. and they've been doing hair transplants for 30 years or 40 years in Australia. Everyone would have seen their TV ads for the last sort of 2 decades. And the way they found us as an SEO agency is they used ChatGPT to help them write the brief for what they needed for their SEO project and what they wanted to achieve. And then once they had written that brief, they actually put that brief into ChatGPT and said, recommend me an agency that can support with this exact brief. And so it was much more, the personalization to that obviously is huge. And the way that then brands need to tackle searches like that is start to have content that relates to all the different things that, or speaks to all the different ways that people search. And one of the ways we do that is so we're obviously an SEO agency. We have a lot of industry pages on our site. So we'll have, SEO for law firms, SEO for, dentists, for, hospitality businesses, because the way people search in ChatGPT is they'll say, oh, I'm looking for an SEO agency that specializes in SEO for hospitality business. Where 3 years ago, the way that people search was, I'm looking, they would just say SEO agency Melbourne. That was it. And so now that we obviously had our location pages targeting SEO agency Melbourne, but now we've got industry pages that are targeting that
That's a traditional long tail.
Correct. Yeah. And it's basically that topical authority map where you're kind of mapping out all the different ways that people may search for your brand and then building content around that. So you've got content that matches all those searches. And then you start to build your topical authority within your space.
You mentioned topical authority.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people going, well, like Reddit. Reddit was over-indexing and then it sort of changed. And then you've got YouTube, you've got digital PR using known publications. Like, is this something you're seeing over-index? Like, what are you seeing right now?
Totally. And I guess, the second thing we could say is like the whole you've got your topical authority, content mapping, and then you've got your brand building, your off-site content. What I've been saying a lot to brands is 5 years ago, off-site content, it was all about the content you had on your site and then a little bit about the content off your site. Now it's like you could almost say it's 50-50.
Yeah, right.
You got like 50% focus on the content on your site and then 50% focus on the content off your site. Because what we're finding in AI search too, I was speaking with a underwear brand recently, and within a branded search for their brand within AI, there was a Reddit answer being pulled, and someone was actually talking really negatively about the brand and saying the quality of the product's really poor. And whether that's true or not, it doesn't matter whether it's true or not. Actually, it's that there is some random person on Reddit that is now within your brand, within an answer of your branded search. And, we don't even know who that person is. And we don't even know if they've actually used that product. They may not have even used that product. And so it's pretty, this whole kind of, the second thing is this whole offsite strategy. And that's where it's becoming quite complex. And, what are people saying on Reddit? How is your brand being spoken about on publications like tier 1, tier 2, tier 3? What about reviews being made on there's a lot of obviously reviews on YouTube, whether it's for cars, I'm looking at buying a new car, there's so many reviews on YouTube. That's all getting pulled into AI search about, BMW, Audi, Mercedes. So when you actually search for branded keywords for, say Mercedes, Audi in particular, there's actually, a ton of content that gets pulled in from YouTube that's actually not, it's not created by Audi, it's just created by different YouTubers. Where 3 years ago, that just wasn't the case because AI search didn't exist.
It feels like we're going through this real step change right now as people adopt whatever their platform is, whether it's Claude, whether it's Chat, whether it's Perplexity. But what are you seeing your side in terms of the difference in traffic? Like historically, traffic was a pretty good proxy and that would flow through, whereas we're starting to see a decline in your organic traffic or your typical or traditional SEO. What are you seeing your side?
Yeah, this is like, I guess, the big question. I think, where we're heading, and it's getting harder to attribute as well, like that whole kind of user journey funnel, typical funnel. I saw a stat 5 years ago for B2B businesses where it was like on average someone touches, 14, they have 14 touch points across your business before they actually convert. And I think that's quite an old stat. And I feel like today it's times, I don't even know, because it's very hard to measure and track AI search activity. And even within Google, ChatGPT, Claude, they don't even have, they're not even showing you the activity or the usage. I think Bing recently within their webmaster tools just recently released some form of performance activity measurement within their tool, but everyone else isn't showing anything. So you've got this kind of new way that people are searching, and it's getting billions and billions of searches, a week, if not a day. And it's growing, times 3, times 4, times 5. I think Claude usage, 18 months ago was, I saw a stat where it was like Claude usage in the last sort of, I think not even 18 months ago, it was like 6 months has gone from, 20 times or something.
So what have you seen a drop in organic traffic, like traditional SEO? Like is that 10, 20%? What have you seen in your clients?
Like it depends on niche and industry. I think what I'm seeing is that in today's world, you have to be ranking top 2. If you're not ranking
You're talking SEO now.
Yeah, SEO, like if we're just talking traditional SEO, if like 3 to 4 years ago, if you were ranking position 5, you still actually got a decent amount of clicks. If I'm just talking B2B businesses, you still got a decent amount of clicks and you still got a decent amount of inquiries coming through. But now if you're ranking position 5, you actually the clicks coming through traditional search are way less, and you have to be ranking top 2. If you're ranking top 2 though, or top 3, the inquiries coming through and the clicks may be decreasing, but the inquiries are still there. The conversions are still there. And that's what we're seeing is across some niches, traffic is dropping, but conversions are not dropping. So, and that's where that AI search is eating. If you look at kind of that top, mid, and bottom of funnel searches, AI search is definitely eating into that top and some mid, but then bottom of funnel is still holding within traditional search.
Yeah, my view is you should see conversion go up, but traffic metrics, especially from organic and even paid, will start to decline. Like it's really interesting. I bought a couch. I got 3 little people. I got 7-year-old twins and a 4-year-old girl, and like they're pretty grubby at the best of times. But like it was interesting. Like I was after a stain-proof couch because I think this is the 3rd couch we've bought in 7 years or whatever it may be. They just destroy them.
Wow.
But I went straight to like Claude. I use Claude. Claude is very much my go-to. And it was really interesting. It was like stain-proof, washable couch. It was actually prompted by a billboard. And I was just like, washable couch. I couldn't actually remember who was on the billboard, but I was like, I absolutely need one of those. I literally put the same prompt in on over a dozen occasions. And the really interesting thing was this, that every time it populated with the same 2 brands, but the 3rd one was like in rotation. Like it was like a different brand that it started to pull in.
Yes.
So I was like, same prompt, different time horizon, but different outcome. And I think this is one of the challenges with measurement.
Yes.
Is that every time you search at a different moment, you'll actually get a different response. But the interesting thing, probably linking back to your top 2, if you're 1 or 2, you're pretty safe, but that 3rd may vary. So it's like you nearly need to be number 1 or 2 authority in that space to index. Whereas if you're 4, 5, 6, 7, you may show up every now and again. Is that what your experience is?
Yeah, it's like you're coming back to that topical authority. Like you got to be the authority in your topic. And the way to do that is like, the content spread, offsite optimization, building a brand, and then you've got all your traditional SEO elements that support all that. But yeah, it's the personalization and the changes in AI search is happening all the time. And, I've done a lot of tests where I'll do the exact same search in AI mode in Google over the course of 2 to 3 minutes, and the results are actually different. And they may not be 100% different, but they may be about 30 to 40% different. Where within traditional search, it's actually not the case.
So for
The
those
search is the
following
same.
along at home, like a trend we may see is going, it seems like the breadth and depth of what would be SEO is expanding.
Yes.
I go, awesome, I have AI tools that can do it for me. Like, why wouldn't I just bring AI or SEO in-house and just have
Yes.
this content machine, like a programmatic SEO or that style of content? Like, why would you do that, or what should you be doing?
Totally. And I think there's a lot of talk at the moment online around automations, Claude doing your SEO. I've seen like posts on LinkedIn where it will say, forget a 30-person SEO agency, just use Claude. Here's the 5 skills, comment, skills, and I'll send you, the 5 skill downloads. And it's just not the case. Like, you can't, AI is just not there yet to be able to automate SEO. And I don't think it ever will be. I think that, AI doesn't have context. It's not the best strategic thinker. It can't manage, relationships. It doesn't take accountability either. If results aren't good, what's AI going to do? Like, is it even going to apologize? Like, it's just going to be there. And I think that's where, where we're heading is we're going to be able to use AI to support with, delivering work, whether it's SEO or really any kind of service, whether it's, I've been using AI a lot for legal support, and I was at this talk recently, and someone was saying that they've driven down their legal costs because they're using ChatGPT to review contracts, and ChatGPT is actually really good at reviewing contracts. So I think like we're moving to an era where AI will be able to support with some of the delivery work and optimization work for websites, but that human strategy, relationship, account management, prioritization, some of the implementation, like, is still going to be quite heavily, relied upon by human.
Yeah.
I think
I'm seeing this shift. Like, you got creative. There's people bring creative in-house using AI.
Yeah.
It's the same with SEO. It's the same with media buying. It's looking at all the verticals and where are the opportunities. Now, it's really interesting. I think you get an efficiency and speed outcome with AI, and that's really what the enterprise value is for it. It's fast, and I can deliver huge volume.
Yeah.
But back to the point, if you want to be the number one, number two, there's no strategic thought. There's no authority, because all AI or LLMs do is scrape information. It's just an advanced search machine. It doesn't actually create or think on its own.
No.
It just scrapes more to create further context or depth of content.
That's
so
right.
unless you're creating original, great content that solves problems that it will index,
That's right.
rather than just scraping some content that is already existing in the World Wide Web, like, you're not going to win the SEO or the AI search game. Is that your view?
100%. Because even going back to your previous question, like, it's, if you just rely on AI to do your SEO or to do this or to do that, you don't actually get very far. And like we all know, like, especially if you're a specialist in your field, you'll see the answers that AI gives and you'll be like, oh yeah, that's right. Oh, that's not right. Or actually that part of that answer is not relevant. Like, and you kind of take a couple of parts, but you never trust the full answer because you know that it's missing, X, Y, Z that you need to achieve results. So I think like, and I've had questions where, brands will reach out and they'll be like, so like, can I do this in-house? And it's like, well, can you rely on AI to grow your business? Like, no,
Do you
like
think
you still
the in-housing
need.
piece, like video content becomes more important now?
Yes.
Do you think there's part where you got the strategic oversight from an agency, but then if you got in-house resources for video content or production, and you can own that machine again, looking at efficiency, do you think there's going to be this hybrid blend of AI search where brands will bring more of that engine room in, but then they'll have the strategic oversight?
Yeah, I think it depends. Like, I think that some brands, like major companies, whether it's like global companies like Nike, will bring some of that in-house. But then global companies like Nike, they've got SEO teams of 15, 20 people or whatever, 10 people already in-house. So I think like I think that brands will bring more, whether it's SEO or whatever services, more in-house, but they're still going to need agency support, whether it's, video strategy, whether it's paid, whether it's SEO, to really kind of, if they've got targets of a 40% lift year on year or whatever it is, it's like, well, who's accountable? Who's responsible for that? Who's actually going to build the strategy for that? Like, because if a in-house marketing manager goes, okay, my CMO's telling me I've got a goal of 40% lift. And then if they rely on AI to do that, and at the end of the 12 months, they've gone backwards or they've got a 2% lift, they can't then go around to their boss and say, oh, I used AI, but yeah, we're going to blame AI, because the CMO is going to come to them and say, well, you're actually accountable. Like, you're responsible. No, AI is never going to be accountable or responsible.
I think this is a different topic of conversation, the outsourcing, in-housing. And I think it's very cyclical. We've had a big cycle of in-housing. I still think that's got a little bit to go. I actually think that'll do a 180.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, cool.
It's very cyclical.
Yeah. So you think it will go...
Well, people go in-house because it's usually a CFO or someone that goes, oh, why am I paying an agency 20 grand a month or whatever it may be, and I can hire 2 or 3 people and I own them, and they're just working on us. Now, the challenge is no one can actually mark their homework. They're marking their own homework, so they're flying blind as an organisation. So that can go 2-3 years, and if you've made bad hires, you don't know until someone actually critiques it, and it's like, wow, we are so off track. Yeah, something's broken. It's not until and it's the same with creative. It's the same with media. Yeah. I've seen and lived it so many times, 2, 3, 4 years. People are going, we're not winning, but we have a really large in-house team. Why aren't we winning? Yeah. But then it will rotate back out. Now, it's not to say that in-housing doesn't work. Some have cracked the code and they absolutely crush it, and you'd never change that model. But I'd probably say 70, 80% of the market, they will go through in-housing, outsourcing, agency partner, or hybrid. But I do think it's very cyclical, and I still think we'll see further in-housing, but I also see that will cycle through back to getting more specialists. So I think there's very much a blend. Now, for a brand marketer or for someone looking at a brand, where are we in 6 or 12 months, and what should they be looking at, or what should they be looking to protect their entity right now?
Yeah, like, okay, so we've obviously got an explosion in Claude, Gemini. ChatGPT is still the number one player in AI search. So, and then, as I said, Gemini, powered by Google. So where are we heading? Like, with the last 12 months, we've had this kind of battle between ChatGPT and Gemini AI modes, / Google. And now sort of Claude's now poking its head in. Like, it's hard to say, but there's, I think within sort of 12 to 18 months, maybe 2 years, that AI mode tab that we're seeing in Google will be traditional search. And then we're going to have a fully fledged AI powered search, and then you'll have paid media that works within that. How that looks is how they kind of interact is obviously subject to change because there's so many tests coming, and ChatGPT just released ads as well. So, Claude has just came out and said that they're never doing ads, which is interesting because I think OpenAI said that 2 years ago that they're never doing ads, and now they're doing ads. So I think will Claude do ads? Probably if there's.
I disagree.
You don't reckon they'll do it?
No.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Because you think it's more of a business work tool than an ad platform.
Claude will win enterprise.
Yeah.
And more people will adopt like a Claude style solution.
Yeah.
I think ChatGPT won the initial launch. And again, if you're looking like who was winning 6 months ago and the product is evolving weekly. Claude is becoming a much better product than ChatGPT, and anyone in business circles will tell you that. And they're moving away from ChatGPT quite quickly.
Yes,
the only reason they don't want to is because they've trained their chat to sort of sound and feel, and they understand them. But there's a step change and that's kind of your stickiness of moving. But Claude will win enterprise. ChatGPT has ads. If the business model, the ads have to fund the business model of ChatGPT. It's too expensive. You look at the data warehouse and the energy required to actually run it.
Yes.
It is a terrible business.
Yes.
Like it's a terrible business. Huge valuation, but terrible business. Claude, charge $40 a month. That is going to be worth far more than running ads within a search platform. So Claude will actually be the victor. It's like Netflix. Netflix had a freemium style of model. They didn't need to, but now it's all paid. Any engagement with Netflix, it is paid, and then there's a paid model and there's an ad-free model. Claude may do that one day.
Yes.
But there'll always be an ad-free model with Claude. So we'll see a segmentation.
Yes.
I think looking at the market is really interesting. I agree. I feel like this is a Yellow Pages moment.
Yeah.
Where Google came in and they killed Yellow Pages over a period of time. It didn't happen overnight, but it happened relatively quickly. Google will always exist. Now, I think Google owning Gemini is really clever. Gemini's done a deal, or Google's done a deal with Android, which is always, it's been there, but they've done a deal with Apple. So Safari will remove and Gemini will become the AI search or the default AI search for mobile.
Yes.
So Gemini will own mobile. The interesting thing is not a contract in perpetuity. It's a 12-month deal. So Google will still own mobile for the next 12 months. So I think that and YouTube will become more important for that.
Yeah.
But I think post that, if Google don't own that contract of the default search engine, it's open slather.
Yeah, I think, definitely. It's interesting around the whole mobile area. Yeah, and it will be, I think we've got 12 to 18 months, as I said, 2 years before, and we would just be optimizing for these AI interfaces. And something that I've was thinking about the last couple of years is I think the way we're going to access the internet is through an AI model. We're going to have our chosen AI model that whatever it is, and maybe different countries, there may be new AI models and different countries have different ones. And then we're all going to access the internet through these models and they'll be completely personalized to us.
So what should a brand be doing right now to hedge against 6 or 12 months?
One of the first things is have an amazing experience on your website. Like if traffic is going down, but the intent is increasing through personalization, users are still converting. They're converting higher than ever. So users that are landing on your site are worth more than ever. And what we're finding even as a business is users that come in through AI search tend to become a client twice as fast than traditional search. Yeah. So
why do you think that is?
Because people think that if you're appearing in AI search, then you must be credible, you must be an authority in your niche, you must have a great product. There's like just this positive bias that is kicking in massively. And so, that's something I've been saying to brands a lot is have an incredible user experience. Because if a user landing on your site, they're, as I said, more important than ever. So, help them convert. Encourage them to convert. Second thing is, and it's interesting because AI is producing so much content, is quality of content. If you can really map out, because what feeds LLMs is content. That's
do you think
fuel.
Quality content is more important than quantity?
Yeah, I do. I do. Yes. I think that quality content is more important than ever.
Yep.
And I think that, because if everyone's producing content through AI, and doing it at scale, well, what happens? Everyone's got the same content. Yeah. Everyone's got the same quality. So what's going to stick out is that high quality content. And what I've been saying to brands is use AI to research and brief your content and structure your content and have awesome processes and do that at scale because it works really well. But when it actually comes down to, that tone of voice, that when you're trying to tell a story, use a human to write it. So you can structure it out, do all your research. That shaves off hours and hours and hours. But then the human comes in and actually, fills in the bits and pieces to make it, quality and on brand. But I think that quality's key. And then having that content spread online, on your website, but then off your website. Like so many brands still today haven't Googled their brand name and Reddit.
Yeah.
Or their brand name and YouTube, whatever it is, their brand name and Trustpilot. I still speak to brands where, I'll be like, oh, you've got all these, poor reviews on other review platforms. And they're like, oh, I haven't looked at that. Oh, we haven't checked that out. Oh, we haven't had time. It's like, well, now's the time because that's appearing in AI
It's really
search.
interesting because I think a lot of brands are sitting in overwhelm at the moment. Like, again, a marketer has their scope just continues to increase. It nearly like doubles every 2 years or thereabouts.
Totally.
But it sounds like to win this game, you actually need to go deeper and you need a lot more resources. Like you think there's efficiencies with AI, but it still sounds like there's a huge lift to be done to win this area. Is that true?
Yeah, I think that it's a tough time for marketers right now. And I think, honestly, where we're heading, you've got to be a great marketer, because if you're not a great marketer, you probably won't have a job, because the strategic marketers that actually think, across multi-platform, that think about the big picture, that think about their competitors, that think about where the market's heading and trends, like you've got to, to optimize for AI search, it's purely big picture thinking. Yeah. It's not kind of little, little tweak here and little tweak there. It's totally big picture, because if what's informing all the answers that you want to appear in, if what's informing that is, PR to videos to Trustpilot to, Wikipedia, all these interfaces, all these channels, if what's informing that is those things, then you've got to look at the big picture. And I think like even for SEOs, like, I think that over the next 2 to 3 years, it's going to show you who the bad SEO agencies are and who the good ones, who's a good SEO and who isn't, because you won't be able to do the little basics to get results. You'll have to think about brands holistically and understand a brand. Like even when I talk to brands these days, my conversation starts with not the SEO, but the brand itself. I've got to understand the brand, because if I don't, then I'm not going to understand how AI search is working for them. So it all starts with that, and then I work back from that. Where 4 years ago, it almost didn't even matter about the brand for SEO. It just mattered about the SEO itself.
SEO was more technical. You'd win technical, whereas I know brand will become more important. How you differentiate is going to become even more important, and the problem that you solve and how you communicate that. Chat launched ads.
Yes.
Is it worth buying?
I haven't ran ads myself, but I have heard it's very expensive. And I don't know the exact stats on it, but I did see it was very expensive. I think for B2B businesses, I do know there's a certain criteria that you have to meet, but I'm sure that criteria will alleviate and will become more accessible to businesses. I think there's certain spend limits, and I think the spend limits are quite high right now that you have to spend per month. Obviously, that's going to come down. I think it will. It will come down, so more brands will be able to access it. I think if I was an e-commerce brand, would I be spending heavily in ChatGPT? Probably not. I would probably test it to see how it goes, but I wouldn't be allocating large percentages of spend. If I was a B2B business, a SaaS, an agency, a company, like a finance company, banks, loan providers, law. If I was a legal business, I definitely would be testing ads in ChatGPT. I know that that's something that we're even speaking about. I was speaking about with the marketing team yesterday at Studio Hawk, the agency I work for. We're gearing up for our next financial year. Mapping out our marketing budget early for next financial year.
And you're looking at paid ads.
Yeah, and that we discussed, okay, ChatGPT ads. Like we can't access it right now.
Well, you run Google Ads at the moment, don't you?
We do. Yeah.
See, my view is it's an extension. It's Google Ads, but it hedges some of the loss. Like the challenge is any ads is rented, whereas organic you own. So you want to be doing both. Right now I'd go, it's too expensive. Let other people try and waste cash. There's a barrier down. Same as Netflix. Like you paid huge premiums just to be first, and that does more to serve the CMO than it does to drive performance. Let other people test. Then barriers to entry to come down. CPMs I think is $60. It's really high, and it's a CPM buy, not a performance buy at the moment. I think it's too early. It will come. I'm a big believer right now. It'd be how do you actually own the next 6, 12, 18 months? What do you need to be doing now?
Yeah.
Because this is a step change moment that you'll get caught wrong-footed if you're not investing in AI search and the organic part more so than the paid part.
Totally.
That is the bigger opportunity I'm seeing rather than paid ads.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Yeah. Definitely. Well, I definitely. The organic opportunity I think is massive, and I think that like what I was saying, like it takes for us to when someone comes through AI search for us, it shortens the buying cycle by half compared
That was
to
my
traditional
next
search.
question. Have you seen commercial outcomes from AI search already with your clients?
Totally. Yeah. Totally. But more in the B2B space.
In the B2B?
Yeah, that is where I feel like it's really hot.
Why?
Like, I think people don't trust ChatGPT yet when they're searching for, let's say it's a 25-year-old female. She's going out with her friends on the weekend and she's looking for a new dress. Does she trust ChatGPT to recommend her the dress that she's going to wear on a night out on a Friday night? I don't think so. It's just, I think it's just not there yet. You know, I've done some searches for pairs of shoes in ChatGPT, and the pairs of shoes it's recommended me, I'm like, that's just not what I wear. But when I go on Google, traditional search, or if I'm looking on Instagram, or, you know, I can find what's trending, I can find what's cool, I can see stuff that I like, I can see how it's being worn, and I'm like, that's really cool, I want to buy that. But I feel like shoes or dresses on ChatGPT, it's just not there yet. But if you're looking for a service provider, if you're looking for a new tech to integrate into your business, like a project management tool or a CRM, or if you're looking for, you know, a lawyer, you know, an agency, you know, if you're looking for an accountant, ChatGPT, we're definitely seeing, even for us as a business, we're getting, you know, around 10% of all our inquiries right now comes from AI search. So it's pretty, I think for B2B, like it would be one of like the top 2 priorities from a
But it makes sense, right?
perspective.
Because AI search for me is complexity bias. Anything that's really complex, it's like a lawyer. It's like I haven't studied law for 10 years. That's hard, takes a lot of cognitive load. I want to outsource it to someone that can do all the thinking for me. So it's like, who's the best lawyer in the field? I want to outsource it.
Yeah.
Same with a B2B offering. It's like, whoa, this could be a 3-month project for me to do my own research and really find the best. Whereas if I can outsource that to someone that is deemed to be a specialist like AI search, whether it's Claude, Chat, whatever, I will trust their opinion over any other reference point outside of social proof from someone else that's using it at the moment right now. So that's where I go, B2B makes so much sense. It's a very rational decision.
Yes.
And I want to make sure I'm making the right decision, but if I can outsource it to a tool or a platform that can give me the answer really fast, I can move really quickly as well.
Yes.
Complexity bias. It's
totally. Yeah. And I think that's how people are, you know, one of the key ways people are using AI is that research and like, you know, like, and I think if I was, you know, a lawyer right now, or, you know, say in family law, like it's so perfect because I'm sure people are using AI search to understand family law. If they're going through a divorce or they're about to be divorced or whatever it is, you know, I'm sure they're going, okay, asking AI search questions. And then if you're a family lawyer, you want to be optimized so you can actually appear. So if after they've answered their 5th or 6th question about their particular situation that they're going through, well, then that 7th question may be, what family lawyers do you recommend in Melbourne? What family lawyers do you recommend in Sydney? They've done their research, and then bang, you're appearing. And then if you're appearing there, they probably, you know, their AI search has already sold them in almost sold them into the service without you having to sell it for them. It's really
like word of
interesting.
mouth. It's like a referral, and the more we trust and nearly feel like our search engine is our friend, and we're building that relationship, which I think is what will happen. To your point, it's like a portal, but your Claude will become a buddy of yours. My wife makes jokes already.
Totally.
I have 3 questions that I've heard from quite a few clients and conversations. The first one is, GA4 can't see, last click misses it. MMM doesn't really model it at this stage, especially investment you make into SEO. Like, how do you actually measure GEO impact or AI search right now?
So there are tools that you can measure. The number one metric that I look at, and this is what I tell brands all the time, is not how many mentions you're getting or how many citations, because people will be like, oh, how many mentions I'm getting. And, you can get tracking to some accuracy on that. But it's like, to me, that doesn't matter. What matters is share of voice. That is, and I know that's like an old sort of marketing metric.
Share of voice within
your competitor set in your market. And I feel,
how do I measure that?
So you can do it using different AI tools like Profound or Peck.ai. There's a couple of other tools. I think there's a tool in that was built in Sydney that's actually doing quite well. And what you do is you map out all the prompts. So you do a lot of prompt research, map out all the prompts that relate to your services. So if you've got, say, if you're, say a law firm and you've got 10 main law services, then you probably have 10 prompts within each 10 services. So now you've got 100 prompts. So map out those 100 prompts, put those into an AI tracking platform, put in all your competitors within that platform, and then start tracking. And then you'll see your share of voice compared to your competitors. If you've got really high share of voice, you're going to do well in the future.
Oh, right.
But if you've got low share of voice, you're going to have trouble in the next 1 to 2 years.
I've heard a few people say those platforms aren't really trustworthy and it's really hard. Like what we were talking about before, every search is different. Do we trust those at this stage, or is that the best proxy that we have? Like, what's the brutal truth?
That's the best, proxy that we have. But honestly, like, you can't really trust it, honestly, because personalization is going through the roof. You've got AI models are changing all the time. You've got the 4.3s, the 4.4 versions. You've got the 5.3s, the 5.4s. You've got the 2s to the 3s. Like, it's all changing all the time. And sometimes they're not even notifying us. They're just updating it and saying, click accept to make sure you've got the latest version. So it's insane what's going on. And I think that the tools are actually quite behind.
So the measurement hasn't caught up yet, has it?
No.
Really, like, that's my view. I feel like the measurement is not there yet.
No, it's not.
So it's still black boxy, which is harder for brands to keep people accountable to see if they're winning or not, or also from execs if they're making big investment into AI search. I don't actually know my ROI. More importantly, I don't even know if my team's doing a good job or not.
I know. It's an interesting time. I think, everyone wants to be in AI search and they know that it's really important. Yeah. And they know that's where we're heading. But then to prove ROI is actually quite hard.
That's the hard bit, right?
Yeah. And I've never, but at the same time, I'm seeing CFOs accept the fact that it's almost hard to prove ROI, and they're still willing to spend because the noise is so loud on AI search. It's a very interesting time.
It is. I think this is what is going on. If you don't invest, you can be caught out in the wilderness, and that is a key business risk. So you can't not invest in it.
Yeah.
The challenge is everyone is claiming to be an AI search. Like, jump on LinkedIn for 2 minutes and my feed will have 5 people going, I am the AI guru when it comes to search. So it's hard to actually believe who is good, who is not. And again, it's a new trend, so it's unknown and everyone's trying to hijack it.
Yes.
So I think that's the challenge, is you can't not invest. It's who do you partner with to ensure that you're going to get the right outcomes. And I think there's breadth and depth there. The one thing that I've also been asked, there's some people that have really struggled with SEO because there's some big brands, legacy brands, and they just dominate because they are the behemoth.
Yeah.
Is this an opportunity for smaller brands or scale-ups to win this area, or are they, the larger brands, so entrenched that this is still going to be really challenging?
I think yes to big brands, they do benefit from AI search, but also yes to challenger brands. They can definitely do the right things now and
how would
benefit.
A challenger win right now?
So some brands are not benefiting from AI search. I'll give you an example. So I was recently looking at MasterCard, Visa, and American Express within AI search.
Right.
They're not clients of ours, but I was just doing some research, and what I've noticed is American Express's AI search visibility is actually really poor. They're just not getting visibility. And I had a look at their site, and the way their site is structured, it just needs work, and I'm sure they're aware of that. There's a lot of stuff going on there. It's a really big site, and it's just structured in a particular way. Now, there's a lot of complexities to that site. And what that told me was going, okay, even if you're a massive brand like an American Express, it doesn't mean you're automatically getting a lot of visibility. And so there is ways for challenger brands to come into AI search, because not everyone has their foundations right on the SEO front. I'm still speaking with brands today that, are huge brands, and they'll tell me, oh, we haven't really invested in SEO before. This is our first time because AI search is trending. So I think for challenger brands, they do have opportunity, but what they have to do, and if they're not doing this, it won't work, is they have to be an authority in their niche. If someone is trying to,
how would I become an authority in my niche?
If someone wants to compete within AI search, if they're let's say if they're a retailer, and they want to sell white goods and electronics, a new retailer, that's very hard, because you're going to be up against JB Hi-Fi, you're going to be up against the Good Guys, you're going to be up against Kogan, you're going to be up against Harvey Norman. And these brands, they're already an authority in that particular space. It's pretty much impossible to win. But if you're producing a cool, like a baby sleepwear product, that's really cool, or if you're producing, we've seen some really cool women's athleisure wear brands come about. You've got the CSBs of the world. I think of the Stacks, it's called. These really cool brands that, they're up against Nike, they're up against Lululemon, but they're growing at a rapid rate because they're producing something that's really cool within their space. They're becoming an authority within that particular niche, which is just women's sort of gym wear. Like, that's it. That's all they're trying to do. Yeah. Where Nike, sure, they're up against Nike, but also Nike have Air Jordans. They have sneakers. They have golf gear. They have, so much range.
So this is where I actually see the opportunity. It goes back to great marketing. I think Ritson was promoting that there was less than 40% of market. I think the number was 32% of marketers actually know the 4 Ps, which is like petrifying in its own right. Yeah. But it comes back to like pricing and positioning and owning. I'll go back to my buying a couch that was washable and all that sort of thing. None of the major retailers were mentioned at all. They were, I'm not joking, out of all my searches, there was only one brand in there that I actually was aware of.
Wow.
Which was Koala.
Yeah.
It turned out that was a billboard I noticed as well. And it was actually what I bought. But all the brands that came up, I wasn't even aware of, but they were in my consideration set because they had a product that fit my specific need. And I think that's where AI search becomes really long tail. So you really need to create the product that fits the need of the market of the long tail.
Yes.
So I think great marketing is going to become so much more important of understanding what consumers really want.
Yes.
Building the product, but then promoting and getting the comms channels out.
Yes.
So you're linking it. So I think great marketing is going to become so much more important, whereas your bigger brands, they're usually a halo trying to cater to everyone.
Yes.
Rather than a niche.
Yes. Like a really simple way to target that personalized search for a particular product is what I've been telling brands is on your product pages, have different use cases. Like let's say you've got your top 3 use cases or top 4 use cases for your product. Have all of that content on the product page. And brands will say, oh, but that's making my product page really long. Now I've got an additional 4 content blocks, 4 small content blocks, on my product page. Like, is that going to impact conversions or whatever they say? And I'm like, but when someone searches for those, if those are your 4 popular use cases, once they put one of those into AI search and goes, I'm looking for whatever product because of this reason or to fit this thing or to do this thing, you've got that content on your product page.
You'd build out your page. So you've got your 4 products there or use cases. And then would you actually go, okay, I'm actually going to build video content and get that on YouTube on those use cases and build that out as well. I actually want to go PR and get someone to pick it up on each of the use cases, whatever that may be. So it's your Spidey web literally
Yeah.
goes everywhere and it all links back. Is that what you're recommending at the moment?
You could do that for sure. You could start with definitely for your hero products, definitely starting with use cases on your product pages, and then you could build out video content. Something that we're doing as a B2B business is we've got 4 different white papers across sort of core key areas that people, one of the white papers we recently produced is probably 20% of the reasons why brands reach out to us is they're rebuilding their site and they're migrating their site to a new platform. So we're like, okay, if that's 20% of the brands that reach out to us have that particular problem and they're looking for us as a solution to provide a particular solution, well, let's create a white paper about that particular thing. We did some YouTube content. We've got some long form pages on our site talking about that in particular. So when a brand puts into AI search, I'm looking for an SEO agency to migrate me from Magento to Shopify or WordPress to a custom build platform, and we've already got all that content that targets that pain point. And AI search, really optimizing for AI search is almost like traditional marketing. It's actually kind of going back to marketing 40 years ago and then using all of the, what are your customers' pain points? Do you have content that answers those pain points or those use cases and then provide solutions to that? Like, it's actually quite traditional, even though it's very digital.
And that's where I think the strategic lens of marketing is becoming far more important. The tactical and execution is faster, but if you miss the strategic piece, it falls over pretty quick. Another question that we've been asked several times has been, like, traditional SEO rewarded scale, more pages, really big sites. Is that still the case?
Yes and no. Like, it depends on your niche, depends on the industry. Like if we're talking about Nike, one of the reasons why they do so well is obviously they're an amazing brand, but they've got so much scope of product, so many categories, so many verticals. Like, they are just dominating. Yeah, but they've obviously got a great product, but they've got their website is just, the scale is unbelievable. But what we're seeing is brands with what's happened in the last sort of 5 years is there's so much content that's been going online. The rate of production of websites, web pages, just content in general is just insane. And so Google is kind of being like, is kind of going, okay, guys, hold up. Like, there's too much content going up and the content is very similar. So these days, you don't necessarily have to have, if you're a financial services business, or if you're a particular kind of business, you don't have to have thousands and thousands of pages. You got to have the right pages based on how people are actually searching. And then the way to tackle the AI search component is not necessarily build out, thousands of pages, but it's about the content on your pages through FAQs or through, questions and answers, through use cases, through industry pages. Like, it's about having the right pages, not necessarily just thousands of pages for the sake of it.
I think that's the trap you could fall into, going, I can create copy for a page in 20 seconds now. Yeah. So I could create thousands of pages really quickly using AI.
Yes.
But that doesn't mean that I'm going to win.
No.
And the challenge with AI content is it feels very similar to everything else that's out there. There's nothing unique about it. Is that the challenge?
Yeah, that's correct. It's not unique. It becomes very similar, and it's hard for search engines or AI bots to decipher, like, what is this content really about, because it's quite similar. And I think, like, there was a lot of sort of, let's say 3 to 4 years ago, there was a lot of sites releasing, thousands and thousands of pages. Like, I don't think they're around anymore, but Catch.
Yeah.
Are they still around? No, they're not around. But one of the things they did on the SEO front, and it was something that I used to refer to, is they released, I think it was like 60,000 pages within 3 months. And they were trying to do that sort of long tail, volume at scale. And when you look at SEMrush or an Ahrefs, an SEO tool to check the performance, like, it did really well for 3 to 6 months, and then it just dropped off because search engines are getting smart. They, this is 3 to 4 years ago. They're quite smart now. They're able to understand.
It's really after original content with authority.
That's right.
What it comes down
That's
to.
right.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, for sure. It's not about kind of spam or
Yeah.
overdoing it. Where 10 years ago, it was about that. It was like, cool, let's just put out bulk pages, bulk content, and you would rank, you would perform, and you'd just do really well.
Because that's the number one trap in-house SEO. I think that's the trap. They'll be doing a lot of pages and they may have metrics,
Yes.
but that'll be the trap. It's how do you be original content that sounds human, that solves problem, that has high authority. That feels like the playbook moving forward. Now, last question, Josh. In 18 months' time, what will we look back on and things that brand got completely wrong about this moment? Where will brands go wrong right now?
I think the SEO is more important than ever. Even though I'm in the SEO space, like I do really think that. I think that SEO has become cool to the executive team. 5 years ago, executives didn't understand SEO. They thought that, when they would hear, oh my God, it takes 3 to 6 months to start seeing results, they were like, why am I going to pay for something that takes 3 to 6 months to start seeing results? And it just wasn't sexy. No one understood it. But now it's become cool. It's become trendy. It's very, sexy to the executive team. And I think that if brands aren't doubling down in their traditional SEO and setting up, first thing is take care of your traditional SEO. Second thing is, even though the AI reporting isn't 100% accurate, have some reporting in place.
Best proxy.
Yeah, so that you can see, start capturing data, because I don't think there's any tool out there that even has historic AI visibility reporting. You actually have to track it day by day yourself within the tool. So if brands aren't setting up tracking around that, and if they start setting up tracking in 1 year for the AI visibility, there's no historic data.
So it's like cookies. It's like GA4. You actually need to embed it early, so
Correct.
you've got historic. Otherwise, you fly.
Correct.
Yeah, right.
That's
so
right.
getting tracking. So Josh, just to wrap up, sounds like AI search, GEO, AEO, zero click. I love zero click because it's kind of a zero click style world. This is huge. This is a big topic. My big takeaways from today, it's like a cake. It starts with great foundations, which is really great SEO and great content on your own site.
Yeah.
Then there's additional layers.
Yeah.
The additional layers would be, call it digital PR, or getting your product or brand in high authority websites or partners. It sounds like video is critical, especially with Gemini coming through and owning mobile. So YouTube, what's your YouTube strategy? It's then content with Reddit. So the tentacles are quite broad. Is there anything that I've missed? What else would you add?
I would add that your UX on site, your UX experience is essential.
Yeah, right.
Your customer experience on your site is more important than ever, as we were saying before. If users are, through organic or through paid or whatever channel, if it is becoming less users landing on your site, well, those users are more valuable. I think that understanding, being a strategic marketer is what is what's going to get you SEO results. And I think SEOs need to become strategic marketers. That is just how it's going to be. I think that platforms, your website platform is becoming more important than ever. Shopify has native, and I was saying before that AI search is probably a little bit less important for e-com than it is B2B, but as AI search becomes the prominent way people search, it will be the main way that people find an e-commerce brand.
So you're saying if I've got a WordPress site compared to Drupal or something like
Shopify
that,
Shopify has native integrations with ChatGPT. So, I'm pretty sure Shopify platform is the only one that has the native integrations with ChatGPT, which improves, checkout functionality. There's the way that you're able to purchase through ChatGPT. You can only do that with Shopify. So I think that there's a lot of nuances. I think Apple Maps is important, not just Google Maps. I've noticed that in ChatGPT search that they're using Apple Maps quite often. And even 1 year ago, I'm not sure if it's still the same thing, but 1 year ago in your ChatGPT account that no one noticed that Apple Maps was actually, when you went into the settings, Apple Maps was default the way that powered the local listings within ChatGPT and not Google. It was actually the default setting. So I'd have to check it. I haven't checked in a while, but that was, and I was showing clients that saying, look at this. It's actually Apple Maps is the default setting, not Google. So it's like, it's understanding, I think, how all these different platforms that we've been using over the last sort of 5 to 10 years within marketing, 20 years, and how does AI actually interact with all these platforms, and what does AI actually prioritize? So I think, that's probably, and then obviously you've got your content side. Your content side is just more important than ever, as you're saying, your video, your on-site content, your off-site content,
so it's actually like the 4 Ps of brand. So it's actually great product. It's how do you position it? What's the pricing? Because it'll be, and I think that's what the platforms do, is analyze price versus what you're after. So it's really going back to the 4 Ps of marketing. So it's like great marketing is actually now linking through to AI search.
Sure.
But then you got the technical component of how do you do a really good job. Josh, before I let you go, one of my favorite segments on this show is Ad Topsy, where we review a brand. And today there's some new work out from Bendigo Bank. And was really keen to get your thoughts. I know you're not a creative by trade. You're more a technical specialist within SEO and AI search. Sure. But I'd love your thoughts. Here's the latest from Bendigo Bank.
The science of advertising.
Our dream of buying a home feels so far away.
I'd just love to pay off my home loan faster.
I'm ready to invest in property, but I feel so stuck.
Come on, let's go. With quick approvals on home loans, we're bigger for getting you moving.
Bendigo Bank, the better big bank.
Josh, what do you think?
Jonathan, I've got some thoughts on it, but you start. I'll throw it to you.
Nice handball. Look, the insight from this, and again, I don't know the exact brief, but the insight is people are struggling with mortgages. They want to pay it off faster. So that's kind of the analogy going with this. I'm stuck on this treadmill, but I'm not actually making progress and paying it off.
Yes.
So I think the insight's great, and I think that resonates. The challenge with this ad, which it's got several, like I like it. It's safe. No one's going to get fired for this ad, bar none. But I'd go, the challenge with it, it's not going to drive outcomes that the business is actually after. Why? And I go, there's 3 things. Number one, I don't know this is a Bendigo ad. It's not that memorable with Bendigo unless you know it's a Bendigo. It all really hinges at the end, which doesn't have a mnemonic. It's really soft. It's a soft brand ad. Yes, she's wearing a Bendigo unit. So they've ticked all the boxes, but it's not that memorable from a brand perspective. So that's the vampire effect. Can I remember the brand? Yeah, I remember that ad where the people were walking on a treadmill like in front of a house. That's what I recall. I actually recall Bendigo Bank. It's not that entrenched. So I'd go, that's the first thing. The second thing, this is all promise, no proof. So the emotion's there because it connects with me, but there's no proof that I'm going to pay it off faster. Now, Athena Home Loans was a brand that we helped bring to market, and they were a scale-up, well-funded scale-up. They created this thing, whereas basically the more you pay off your home loan, the lower the rate you get. So it's called Accelerate. So they created this product to be proof that, hey, we'll actually help you pay off. The promise is we'll help you pay off your home loans faster. Love us and leave us. But then they had this proof of product. It's like, your promise is there, but I've got a reason to believe, an RTB. So that is where Athena won with this promise proof strategy. This just falls all promise, no proof. So they're kind of the 2 big for me. They're going, how would I make this better? I need proof behind this ad. This is all promise. It's a, great insight. Well executed, good production. Is it going to change the game for them? No. And they're 2 big reasons why.
Yeah,
Your
cool.
thoughts?
Cool. Yeah, cool. That makes total sense. Yeah, I feel like when I watched that ad, I watched it a couple of times this morning as well, and I feel like it's not that memorable. Like it looks cool, and it looks like it's well done. There's like animations going on. The house looks great. Like, everything looks like great. Yeah. But there's no, and I feel like in today's world, and I think they're not targeting a young demographic there. Obviously it's a bit more, I'd say, I don't know, middle-aged, but in today's world.
35 is middle-aged, Joe.
Yeah. So in today's world though, there's so you go on Instagram, there's just ads galore. There's organic videos that look like ads, and they are ads. There's so much content, and some of the stuff. What I've been loving about Instagram lately is it's so interesting. It's so entertaining. I wouldn't say that ad's entertaining, like at all. Like I feel like if I was watching, sport at home and that ad appeared, I wouldn't remember that ad 1 second later. That would have just...
No, you wouldn't.
That would
you
just
wouldn't remember the
disappear.
ad. You wouldn't remember the brand. The one thing they did do really well is a prediction break at the front. So as soon as you see, again, it's on the nature strip where they're walking in front of the house and they're not moving. So you don't see that all the time. It's a different type of concept. So that does grab attention. So that's reptilian brain. It does grab. So they did grab attention from the start of the ad. But this is where I'd love to go. How can I make this ad feel like Bendigo, more Bendigo, and more memorable throughout? And the other one, it doesn't have a call to action. Again, it goes back to the proof. It's like, why would I take action now? There's no reason to believe. There's no CTA. There's no special offer. No. So again, it's kind of like a safe brand ad, but it doesn't really embed brand. No. Sorry, Josh, you were...
Some of the things they kind of showcase things I didn't mind the way they showcase some things. Like they had their app and they showcased their app in like a really subtle way. The way that, just a few little things that they did was interesting. They were kind of like, I felt like, I agree. I like the initial start where they're on the treadmill and they're not kind of moving forward. You're kind of like, what is this? And they tried to kind of, I guess, tick a few boxes and say, oh, we got this. We've also got this. This is what we do. Yeah, it felt like the start of the ad was good, but then the sort of 70% rest of the ad was a bit more of a box ticking exercise.
Yeah, it was, because I'm trying to recall what the part of the ad is right now, and I actually can't. I think it was quick approvals potentially.
Yeah.
But again, is it quick approvals?
Through the app.
You're approved in 5 minutes, 2 minutes. Is there something that anchors to what you've built that's really special? It's like, we're talking about great product. Like, what's the product Bendigo's built that actually solves it, rather than going, hey, we're fast, but there's no product or proof to prove that that's true. It's just all promise.
Yeah, they could say, like, if they do have really fast approvals, they could say, on average, a bank takes, I don't know, whatever it is, 7 days to approve. But on average for us, with this new approval service, it's actually 12 hours. Totally. And it's like, wow, that's insane. Yeah, you're so right.
Yeah. Well, Josh, thanks for coming on. It's been an absolute pleasure. If anyone wants to get in touch with Josh, he's one of the leads at Studio Hawk. Studio Hawk is the largest, I understand.
Yeah, so we're in Australia, we're in the UK, we're in the US. We've got 2 offices in Australia, largest in Australia, specialise in SEO. We just do SEO and obviously AI search now. We work with a ton of different brands, work across retail, e-commerce, B2B companies, SaaS. We work with a few, crypto exchanges. We work with, a whole range of different businesses. We cover any industry, but we always make sure you're the right fit for the service. And we do free audits. We map out strategy decks all for free. If any brand reaches out to us, we'll kind of scope everything out. We'll benchmark you against competitors. We can look at AI search, map everything out before you even were to work with us. We've been around for 10 years, or 11 years now. That next step for us is that optimizing for AI search and bringing brands along for that journey and seeing kind of where it all goes.
Sounds good. If you want to get in touch with Josh's details are below. And he's got Hawk Academy. So if you actually are interested in search and SEO basics and AI search, it's all within Hawk Academy. They do free audits, and Josh can answer any questions you've got. That's it from me. Till next time.
The science of advertising.